What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Sales Remastered. My name is Daniel. I'm your host. If this is your first time stopping by or visiting any content from Sales Remastered, I appreciate your time. I appreciate the attention. I will not spend it in vain, per se. And in this episode, what I want to do is I want to connect with you individually and give you some one-on-one advice. And this is going to apply to you regardless if you're young, you're old, you're seasoned, you're a rookie, the novice, intermediate, or expert. Wherever you are right now, you're either going to learn or you're just going to agree, right? Like, I'm going to basically back up your opinion, your beliefs. And what it has to do with is how we are conditioned, how we're kind of pre-wired to see things as risks or to see things as dangerous, right? And we're conditioned by our elders, by our influences, those who are within our circle. It doesn't even have to be our parents. It could be our auntie or uncle. It could be our cousin. It could even be our little siblings, right? Like, we are just influenced by people who are influenced by others. And so where we generate our energy or kind of our decision making is typically around those that we trust and those that we've kind of always taken advice from. And so if you've had a guardian, or if you've had parents or even a spouse or mate just give you some honest advice and safe advice, where they'll tell you certain things are a risk, right? Like going into sales is a risk. Right? Being an entrepreneur is a risk. They condition you to look at that entire title, right, as a risk, when in all reality, sales is what keeps the fucking world moving. And sales is something where it's not negligent to you. It doesn't neglect you. It doesn't strip opportunity away from you just because you don't have a fancy background or just because you didn't graduate from a particular school. Sales is just your ability to properly influence and articulate how your services helps another person. That's it, right? When you break it down, you keep it simple, that's all it is. However, before you would know shit like this, before you had influencers or trainers or coaches or mindset mentors that taught you how to play the game, of course, everything's a risk, right? Crossing the street's a risk. Fucking driving a car is a risk. Fuck it, having sex is a risk until it's not. And the only real way to eliminate risk is preparation, right? You have to be prepared. You have to study the terrain and look both ways, per se. Buckle up, strap up, and then you eliminate the risk. You increase the likelihood of it being safe. But that's not shared with you in the very beginning, right? It's always like, hey, be careful, be safe, don't go to sales. It's always up and down. It's up and down. And it's you're not gonna find stability, but that's based on their opinion. That's based on them, right? And so because there are influences, they'll tell us this information and we will absorb it stronger than someone who we clearly see as successful sometimes, right? And so you might have a mentor, whether it's here or whether it's in person, that is telling you some things, but it's contradicting the way you were raised or the way you were pre-wired, right? Like your mind was already kind of preset a specific certain way. And so that's why certain people see things differently. That's why, regardless of how you see it, how I see it, what we share and what we can relate with is the emotion, is certain emotional pulls, right? Like, you're going to operate a specific way out of fear. I'm going to operate a specific way out of fear. Regardless how you see things or how you look at this versus look at that is going to be based on a specific emotion, right? Like, you're going to feel fear, you're going to feel love, you're going to feel there's something that urges you towards that direction. And that is what I teach here at Sales Remastered, is that thing that makes us go a specific way. It makes us go down a path with full faith and confidence, knowing that there is a bridge to stand on. There's a bridge to help you cross over. And what it does is it helps you get prepared. It prepares you, gives you the answers, it gives you kind of the proof, right? The proof. You're seeing me do it every day. I'm talking about it every single day. You see me help others every single day, and I'm fortunate. I'm fortunate because if I didn't know about these things that I'm sharing with you, and it took a lot of time, a lot of patience, a lot of preparation. And it took a lot of courage and time of trial and error, and courage of going up to specific groups of people to get accepted, and so that I can absorb certain information. It required the courage for me to step out of my comfort zone. So I've done all that already. I've done all the vetting already. And so if you want to get down to it, like, hey, science selling is a science, and there is a formula, and when you understand that formula, you could sell anything. I believe that any communication is a sale. That's why I think sales is communication. And why any communication is a sale is because anytime you communicate, there is an intent behind it. Whether you need the other person to listen to you, give you attention, pay for your services, or trust you and follow the direction, or give you their loyalty and trust that you're an authority, it's a sale. At the end of the fucking day, it's a sale. Job interview's a sale. Getting a promotion is a sale. Keeping your job every day is a sale. Keeping your relationship every day is a sale. Avoiding arguments with your spouse or with your mate is a sale. Telling your kids what to do, how to act, and how to think is a sale. Everything is a fucking sale. And so I believe that if you understand the formula of sales, you are naturally going to become a better communicator, right? And so that leads me to my next point. I share a lot of content on here. A lot of it is unscripted. And, I'm always talking about like preparation, getting better. And I want you to realize that my goal when initiating this brand or creating this brand Sales Remastered was that I was going to go straight, unedited. My plan was to go unedited. I do got a few edited copies that show like a background, right? Like I got a whiteboard. And so, because I need to learn that software, I need to learn and play with those editing tools. And so you're seeing kind of the product, and I'm rolling it out. And just understand that no matter what, however you view the next level, or you view your next step or your next goal, it will always be a risk, right? Like I risked all this time just to make myself, I possibly could have made myself just look like a fool, right? I took risks and stepped out of my comfort zone because I'm in front of the camera. I'm giving you all the content and information that's helped me succeed and those around me succeed, and I'm sharing with you all this content. But it doesn't mean that you're going to dive into the content, right? I can't make you want to practice on how to increase your compensation. That's some shit you need to want to do. And so what I wanted to do when rolling out this brand was not only provide a resource for individuals who just don't have that resource, or who just does not have the mentoring, the tools, and that individual is going through every single day about to rip their head out, their hair out, and they just can't seem to get out of their slump or their rut, or sometimes they just need a reminder of how this game really goes down, so it gives them that kind of that recharge of confidence and boost, right, of momentum that you need to get back in control of your income generation, your sales generation. And so my intent at the very beginning of starting this brand was to just go. That's it, just go. And why I use that philosophy, or why I use that method, is because I've always used it. I've used it anytime I was in a different location, something that I was out of my comfort zone, something that I was unfamiliar with. I did it for sales. I did it for new jobs. I did it for industries. And what I did was I just went. I wasn't the one to just stop and say, oh, but what, is this the right move? Should I do that? I'm gonna do it. And if my shirt gets caught, or if I get caught, or if I get bumps and bruises, I'm gonna learn from it. But that's the fastest way that I can learn, is that I just need to run into it. Whereas a lot of us, or the alternative, I should say, is to go slowly, right? Get too cautious, be too prepared. So prepared and so cautious that you miss out on opportunities. And not only that, but it delays your progress of improvement. And so by me throwing it out there, I've accomplished various things just doing it the way that I did it. And number one is it's full practice. Now I have the ability to improv shit. Like, you give me a topic and I'm just gonna go off the hip, right? Now sometimes I might fuck up, you know. You'll catch me. I'm trying to look for a word, you know, and you're probably trying to complete the word for me, but I can't hear you. So, you know, you just hear me trying to announce words and shit, and it just sounds like I'm some dude trying to use long words that look cool. But sometimes, you know, that's just the way it goes. And so my question to you is that, because of the content you've seen, and those who have been following me since February of 2017, when I released my first video, which actually was May of 2017, since that time, you've gradually seen the progress, right? I hope you've seen the progress. Go take a gander, look at the videos, look at the very first video, and just see the progress. And I want you to reference that and say, okay, well, if this dude did it and that was his method, and he got this much improvement that fast, and he got that comfortable, and now he he understands like how to maneuver through the different channels, like in this case it's social media, right? Like YouTube, Facebook, and all these other different channels. I can apply that same concept to sales. I can apply that same concept to outbound sales. I can apply that same concept to this industry. I can apply that same concept towards this relationship or this job or this communication. And now it becomes universal, right? But you got to take baby steps before you can start using it on everything. You got to be able to understand how to use it, period, and focus on using it in one particular path, which is generating sales. And so the upside is, though, as you study and as you learn these alternative routes, you're going to find that sometimes the traditional method, the method that is being used on your sales floor or in your team or by your mentor, isn't always necessarily the only option. And now you have an opportunity to see another option where you can get to play with it and create your own. And when you're able to create your own, this is natural. It becomes very genuine, right? And just like me, like now I'm improving, right? So before, at the very beginning, I used to study a topic. I used to make bullet points, trying to figure it out, right? Like I didn't want to forget something, and nothing I wanted more a lot of times than just to delete, but I forced myself to upload it, and then I would learn from it. I forced myself to upload it knowing I could get a hater comment, knowing I can get a thumbs down. But at the end of the day, I'm so fucking new at this, I could give a fuck, because I know that if I didn't do it right for someone, then and they got me, you know what I mean, like a thumbs down or a bad comment, then I'm gonna learn from that. I'm gonna accept that, right? You know, the true formula for failure is trying to please everyone. And I think that holds us back a lot of times. It holds us back from creating new sales. It holds us back from outbound calling. It holds us back from growing, because you know, we believe that we need to please everybody, right? And so instead of going towards this risk, I want to please my parents because they told me that's a risk, and they paid for my college, and they brought me up, and they love me, so I'm going to listen to them. I'm not going to venture in this path, even though I'm very curious about that path. I'm very curious on how someone can make that much income that fast. But of course, my parents told me there's risk because it's always up and down. Is it true that there are individuals who can learn the formula of science of selling and literally control their income? They can control the results that they receive. And the answer is yes, you can. But the question is, though, now that you know that there is a bridge there, will you cross it? Will you have enough courage to step on that bitch? Or will you step on it and just constantly think about going back, and constantly think about turning back? Because that fear, as you're crossing that bridge, you're like, oh, whoa, this is awkward. This is different. This is what they're talking about as risk. Ooh, I don't know. I don't like that. And so it's natural that you feel this way, not even just sales, on anything, new job, new industry, new employment, new mate, new spouse, new kids, whatever. It's just, it's that thing that you feel when you're doing something you're not sure about. And when you get there and it scares you, as long as you're not inflicting harm on yourself or others, right? Like physical harm, you're not out to go take advantage of anybody. You're actually going to grow from that. So when you get scared and when you think that you're in that danger zone, you just need to keep pushing yourself. And when you realize when that day's over that you fucking survived, you can now go back into it with a little bit more confidence. Kind of like when you're crossing the street, right? Like now you look both ways. Now you are confident because you know both ways. And you are more confident when you're driving because you've practiced. You understand the terrain. You understand the velocity, right? The momentum and how to brake and where to go, and understand the lights, the rules, the flow of traffic, right? And just like sex, like it was awkward at the very beginning, but now you've done it a couple times, and so now you know what I mean? Now you're getting creative. You got the slow jams in the background. Like, is those candles, fool? Like, you getting, you know what I mean? You get better at it, and it's just the way things go. Shit applies to anything and everything, and I want you to apply it towards anything you want right now. So if you're a beginner, I want you to fucking just have faith, trust that there are too many resources to fail. If you're seasoned and a veteran, you're like, oh man, this fucking new generation's just fucking gangster with it. They're coming in and they're taking over my spot, and it's like they understand computers and they're technologically advanced, and I just feel like I'm getting washed away. Well, you could watch this information and understand and understand that the formula never fucking changed. The only thing that changed was the surroundings, right? And just the way of delivering the communication, the content, and improved our capability versus 10, 15 years ago, how we generated sales. Today is the opportunity where you can combine your experience and the technology and the resources, the tools to create your legacy. And that's what I'm trying to help you do. If you like the content, if you like this video, share it to someone who needs to see it. Please consider subscribing, hit that bell. If you have already, thank you. Go check out the other links and the channels that Sales Remastered is on. I'll leave the content and the links below. And definitely download that sales script. Leave your personal email address at salesremastered.com. And if you haven't checked... uncut, right? If you haven't checked the blog yet, go to salesremastered.com/blog and check out the content. Look at the your boy can write sometimes, and get a little bit creative. And I want you're able to leave a comment under those blog posts. Check them out. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment or two, and yeah, I'll see you over there.